What's up, everybody? Prof Sales coming at you with another update about my book selling experience. And I just wanted to share with you guys some results I had over the month of June. So I thought it'd be cool to give you an update. Sorry, it's been a little bit delayed, but better late than never, right? So welcome to the Prof Sales YouTube channel. I am Prof Sales. This is where we talk about being a reseller, being in business for yourself, being an entrepreneur, buying and selling on e-commerce platforms like eBay, Amazon, so on, and just having a nice positive community here on YouTube. So we're glad you're here. My sidekick Karin is actually out shipping things and buying shipping tape right now, but she's normally with me. But I thought I would just jump on now and kind of give you guys a quick update about the books. And if you enjoy this content, check out the links down below in the description. And hit the like button if you wouldn't mind. If you're enjoying it, I would appreciate it. And let's Google and YouTube know I'm doing a good job. And just takes a second. So I got my water here. I'm all ready. We're letting the room fill up. There's a live chat going on right now during this video. So you can always, you should be able to see that on the playback. Leave me a question or comment if you like, and I will do my best to answer it. But yeah, lots of people are coming in the room. Darren, JR, and Alex, what's up, everybody? Yeah, we're going to talk about books here for a few minutes. I'm not going to stay on too long because we've actually got some other things going on. I'm going to be on, I'm going to try my first Instagram live video later today. So if you want to check me on Instagram, you can see the links down below in the description. And I'm going to try to do a live video and kind of walk you guys through the warehouse a little bit and what we've been doing. We have shipped a lot of things in the last couple days, and there's a lot more still left to ship. But we've gotten a crash course in Amazon shipping in bulk. And it's been cool. It's been good. It's been tough. Karin and I have been like trying to figure this out and like butting heads with each other and just the process. But you know what? It's coming together. So I'm encouraged by it. And so we'll try that later today on Instagram. Darren says he doesn't do social media. Well, I don't blame you, Darren. Social media is kind of a big time suck if you're not careful. Alex asked, how are you prepping your books, or could you do a video? Yeah, we actually only do one or two quick things. We try to scrape off any price stickers or any easy to get stickers. If they're crazy amounts of stickers, I actually end up leaving them, because it's just too hard to get them off. And a lot of times you'll rip up the cover of the book when you're trying to get the stickers off. We use, I don't have it in here, but we have a little thing of rubbing alcohol, which you can use on some materials of books, others not so much because they can't get wet at all. But the rubbing alcohol evaporates really quickly and gives you an easy way to sort of remove some things. I don't go crazy with them unless they're a really expensive book. I mean, if you're selling like a $12 book, I don't know. I just don't think it's worth putting, 20 minutes of work into it to try to get it perfect. So that's just my kind of mindset around it. And I don't think the person buying expects it to be pristine either, and they're not going to care that much about it. So that's what we do for book prep. It's really quick, and usually a lot of books don't need any prep. I try to buy, hey, Rex, what's going on? Rex, you could chime in on this too. I try to buy books on the front end that don't need prep, if that makes sense. Like the condition inside them, you can't really do much about. The only thing you can do much about is the cover. Honestly, you can't really clean up the pages or repair water damage. I don't really buy water damage books anyway. So I try to buy books just the same ways I did with jeans. I try to buy books that don't require a lot of care and maintenance, because if you do that, I feel like you're wasting a lot of time, and there's not enough profit. There's not enough margin dollars in books to really be adding several minutes to fixing each one. So that's kind of the way I look at it. Alex says, have you set up a min return on investment yet? I don't think books is a great type of category to sell with and think about return on investment, because it's misleading. I mean, if you sell a $2 book and make $2, well, it's 100% return, right? But it's only $2. I mean, it's not a lot of money. I think you need to look at dollars per book, which we'll get into in a moment. We'll get into kind of what my numbers have been running so far. I'm curious if any of you other booksellers are watching this. Let me know how your numbers are, if your numbers are comparable, if they're higher, they're lower, if you found tips or tricks to increase your profitability and so on. And just kind of, if you're in line, if I'm in line with this, like this is a new venture to me. So I don't think I really have a lot of knowledge about what's really real numbers or not. So we will share those in a moment. Yeah, Rex likes to buy clean books too. Yeah, I think that's just the way to go, guys. I think you should buy books, buy them as clean as you can get them, and then you don't have to worry about it. But I will say, in the moment when you're out scanning books and one pops up as an accept, it can be easy to just kind of really quickly look through it and throw in the cart and then totally miss something when you get home and you're like, oh man, the last 25 pages are all water damaged. I mean, it can happen. So, and plus, we went on this book sourcing trip the other day to Columbia, South Carolina, and we went in a couple stores where the lighting was terrible. That's probably even giving it too much credit. So it's easy to miss things when you're in those low light situations. Just try to like if you're holding the book like this and you're looking at it, a lot of times your head and your shoulders are blocking the light coming from above. So I tend to kind of hold it out here to the side if I can, if I remember. And that way the light is hitting the whole book and you can really see it clearly. Just a little tip there I've already learned. I don't do it every time because sometimes I forget. But if you can kind of hold the book a little to the side so the light can come in over from behind you or above you and hit it without your head or shoulders blocking it, I find that to be a little better. But you can see here we're in a different room too. This is our secondary office, I guess. Right now it's got just a bunch of stuff in it because we had to clear out the entire warehouse for the gazillion items that we just got in there over the last 3 weeks. But that's been a lot of fun, prepping and shipping. We'll talk about that in a separate video. But let's talk some books. I'm going to show you guys my numbers. We got about 30 some people in the room already, which is cool. So I'm going to show you guys what I have been hitting so far. And you guys can tell me what you think. Let me get this up here. All right. So the month of June, which is right here, we scanned $9,300 or $9,300. We scanned 9,300 scans. We found 261 books. We call them pulls just to, I don't know, just my term, whatever. And at a cost of $259, basically 260 bucks. That's a pull percentage of 2.79%. I feel like that's a little lower than maybe what we should be hitting, but some of you other guys who sell books can chime in. Our cost per book was great at only 99 cents. I feel like that's a pretty low number because we source some places where the prices are more like $2 a book for hardbacks. But I think that I wish we'd gotten a few more scans in, but June was crazy. We didn't scan for like 2 weeks when we were out on our prep and ship and sourcing Toys R Us's adventure. So we didn't get any books during those 2 weeks. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I feel like the price per book is pretty good too. So let's move forward. Listed wise, didn't list any more fulfilled by merchant. We listed 285, got sent into Amazon, which are our biggest month yet, which is pretty good, I think. I mean, we definitely want to get more, but consider, again, we couldn't work for like 2 weeks. I think that's still a decent number to get in just 2 weeks' time. Solds. All right, fulfilled by merchant, we sold one for 10 bucks, basically. So our average selling price was $9.95. Trying to highlight this for you guys. FBA sold. Here's what sold. So we sold 66 books in June for basically a total of $9.92. in FBA sales, and then we had the $10 sale over in Fulfilled by Merchant. Our average selling price was $15 on these books, which I feel like that could be higher, but I'm also not upset about that because there's a lot of lower price books that sold last month, which pushed that down. We sold 67 total between Fulfilled by Merchant and FBA. Net per book. So this is answering your question about return on investment. I look at it as net per book. Last month it was $7.23. That's a little bit of an estimate. It's just based on some fee estimates for Amazon. And I think it's pretty close. So, take from it what you want. $1,002 broke the 4-digit mark. Really happy about that. And, moving forward with that, that's going to be great. I think you can see this month we're already at 524. So I think we're going to blow this number out of the water, hopefully. And excited about that. Total new inventory. So we sourced 285 books, which pushed our inventory up to 526, but we sold 67, which pushes it back down below that number. So that's pretty good, I guess. So our sell-through was 12.74%. I've heard that around 13 or so is very, very reasonable. Our total sell-through is 16. I know it seems weird because none of these numbers are 16, but it's adding up all the numbers. And so I'm pretty happy with that. Fees. Oh my gosh, the fees, people. Amazon fees, $715. So what sucks about book selling a little bit is you send books in and then they'll sell for a while, but you get hit with the shipping fees. And of course your normal fees going forward. So there's a lot of fees, no doubt. We have 2 subscriptions to ScoutIQ, which is great, but still costs $60, $70 a month. Accelerlist and Reprice It as well, which is our repricer. So this is your fees right here for a month, guys. Even if you're not, you're gonna pay for about $80 worth of stuff every month if you have a scanning app like ScoutIQ, Accelerlist to list, and a repricer. You're gonna pay like $80 for all that stuff. There's not really any way around any of that. It's just a cost doing business. Ours is a little higher because we have a second ScoutIQ subscription for Karim. So our total fees was $829. So we didn't have any defects last month to take out, which gave us a profit of $106. Now, on the surface, $106 doesn't seem very good. But honestly, to be profitable in your second month selling books is pretty good. And it wasn't even a full second month because our first month was not a full first month. So I'm pretty happy about that. I mean, that's going to grow. That number is going to grow exponentially. So to make a profit in your second month is really good in books. It takes a while because you got to build up inventory and they got to sell. And you're still sending in new inventory, which is costing you all these fees over here and so on. So you just got to put this time and energy in the first few months, guys. I mean, there's no other way around it that I've seen. But I'm going to stop sharing now. We'll come back and see what you guys think. So that's my numbers for June. I told you guys I was going to be really transparent about this book adventure. And I think we are. So I don't know. You can take from that whatever you want. I think that Rex says smell the book also. No one wants a smelly, smoky, musty book. True. That's true. So basically, profitable in that second month. I sold $1,000 worth of books. More of those books, here's what you got to remember, guys, and this is the game in reselling in general. More of the books that I sent in last month and in May, I mean, they're still sitting there in Amazon's warehouse. Those will sell. Like, you will get more incremental sales from those each month they sit there. So you kind of have a snowball effect. It sort of builds on itself. That's the idea with books. That's the idea with anything really that you resell, is that you build up an inventory, and then some of the things that you listed a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, builds up your sales dollars. That's just the way it works. I mean, you got to build up inventory. There's no other way around it. I've been thinking about what kind of like an inventory number should be that I want to aim for, but I don't think I'm going to put a number on it yet. I'm not sure. because what you can do with books is you can build up an inventory and then just source enough each month to replace what you're selling. So then you're kind of like, I'm going to say your sales are guaranteed. They're going to still be within a range around a number, but they're still going to be pretty good. You can count on them. Like, let's say you have a 5,000 book inventory and you're grossing $3,000 a month from that. You can pretty much count on that number being close to $3,000 as long as you continue to replenish the books that you send in, and they're roughly the same sales price, and they will be over time. So I think that, probably by like the fourth quarter, books are going to be a significant chunk of income for my business. That's one of the things we're anticipating. I know that some events are coming up, like the Prime Day is coming up next month or next week. And I was thinking about trying to get a shipment ready today and get it in, but I don't think it'll hit the warehouse in time. So I'm not really going to rush it. So that's kind of some numbers there. Those are real numbers. I know there's other people out there who put out numbers, and maybe they're real, maybe they're not, but I've showed you guys the numbers all along, which is what I promised you to do with this book adventure. There's some other numbers I can give you too. I got a couple questions I'm going to answer too. We have, and I'm just going to tell you these because I'm not going to show you all my secret locations. We have gone to 76 locations so far over the past 2 months. I don't think any of those we've really hit twice. We have found literally 76 new locations to go to between Charlotte and the surrounding area and Columbia, which is where we went last week. And, we've been keeping some numbers on those. I probably will share those numbers at some point, but I'm not going to share them all right now because I really don't want to show off all the names of them, and I'm not prepared to do that, but I will. I just have to kind of think about what that's going to look like. We still have some more locations in the Charlotte metro area we have not hit, which is pretty cool to think about. We've got several now that we've hit once, and our goal was to hit a location roughly every 30 days to give it some time to sort of reload. We've got plenty of locations. We've got, right now, I've got about 25 locations that we could hit a second time already and go back and hit, and they'll have reset some. I mean, they're not going to be complete. It depends on the type of location, I think. Like if you go to a library, I'm not sure how quick library sales flip out their books. Like if they have an ongoing sale like the libraries do here in Charlotte, I don't feel like they flip them out that often. Like I don't think they could. But I could be wrong. A store like a thrift store, a Goodwill, they flip them out a lot because they get a lot. A local mom and pop thrift that doesn't turn the inventory probably doesn't flip out their books that often, so you might have to wait a little longer. Like a Goodwill, you could probably go to every week, honestly, especially here in Charlotte, the way they flip out inventory. But all right, so a couple questions. If you have questions, oh, by the way, guys, be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. It's down below the video. It lets me know I'm doing a good job. I appreciate it. Rex says it takes 5 months to turn on my brightness here. I can't see anything. It takes 5 months to see regular solid income. It does not get rich quick. I would agree with you, Rex, 100%. I'm only kind of 2 months in, but I can already see that you're absolutely right. There's no way you're going to. So 5 months for me would be November, I think. So that's about right. That's what I said. Like fourth quarter at the end of the year is when it's going to be best for me. And plus fourth quarter, things sell more anyway, just in general. So yeah. Definitely going to take several months, guys. Books is not a instant, oh, I bought it for $1, flipped it for 100. I mean, although that can't happen in books actually, but yeah, so you definitely gotta realize that it's a long game. Oh, something else I was going to say. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I've sold, oh, by the way, I've sold about 115 books total so far, for about $1,765 with a net of $716 per book. So there's that number. So far, that's what the net's running. I don't know if that'll be higher or lower. It depends on how you set your triggers on your scouting app or what your criteria are. you could buy sort of the lower quick flip books that sell for like $12, and your net per book is probably going to be more like 3 or 4. You're going to turn more volume maybe, but you're going to have to scan a lot more and find a lot more. I'm trying to find a sweet spot, and I haven't found it yet. So what's the average months it takes to start seeing a steady profit? Yeah, we just talked about that. It will cover your monthly fees and normal amount of new inventory. That's a great question, Gretchen. So they call that sort of the break-even point, where the amount you're selling and the amount you're profiting is greater than what you will need to spend to replace that inventory. So let's say you're profiting, let's say your cost per book's $1, and you're profiting $500 a month after your fees and everything, but you need to buy 500 books each month because that's how many you're selling. Then you're at the break even. Like, you're profiting 500, but you're going to need to put that all back into new inventory each month to replace it. So you could look at it as, this is the kind of the way I'm looking at it, the cost of all your fees and your direct overhead for your business. Like if you've got a scouting app like ScoutIQ, if you've got a listing program like Accelerlist or Repricer, the cost of your Amazon fees and your shipping to Amazon fees and so on. You add all that up, add up the cost of the books that you sell each month. We'll say it's $500 because you're selling 500 books a month. And then you add all that up, and let's say it's, $3,000. You're going to need to net more than $3,000 to sort of offset that. So I kind of look at it like, I think the simplest way is, you kind of have to set it up in a spreadsheet, honestly. Like, I don't know there is a simple way. I was going to say there's a simple way, but there's really not. You're going to need to look at your total cost each month for your overhead, which I look at as the fees and the cost to ship to Amazon and any sort of scouting and subscriptions you have. You can look at other things there too. You could even, if you want to get really minute, you could throw in like the cost of your labels and things like that. Boxes, if you have to buy boxes. I mean, you can sort of reduce all that cost. And then how much is it going to cost you to replace the books that you sell each month? And that number you know pretty easily because you know what your cost per book is. You add all that up, and then you've got to, make at least that much to even break even. And then if you want to make any more than that, if you make more than that, you're going to make a profit. But it's not get rich quick, as Rex said. Like, there's definitely a process here to building up inventory and letting old inventory start selling more so that you're, getting ahead. Can ScoutIQ be used for books? It can be used for other items in live mode. It does. The triggers don't work for the other items because the triggers are set up specifically for books. But yes, ScoutIQ will, if you're in live mode, and it pings Amazon, and you can pull up info on any item that's in the Amazon catalog. Given the $15 per unit sale price, wait, I lost it. Given the $15 highway buses, given the $15 per unit sale price, do you have to meet a certain percentage of monthly stock sales to compensate for the upcoming storage fees? That's a great question, highway bus, and I don't know that I know the numbers on that quite yet. I would need to look into them a little closer. But I hear what you're saying. The upcoming storage fees. You've got a monthly fee for every item you send into Amazon, and then eventually you have a long-term storage fee, which hits in 6 months. I've got till November before I have to worry about that for any of my books. The great thing about Accelerlist, guys, that I like, and a lot of the listing apps do this, but it tells you what your upcoming long-term storage fees are going to look like and starts warning you about certain ones. And if you're skewing your books, like putting a skew on them that tells you when you send them in, which I do, you can just go back very quickly and find those and make some decisions on them. Do you want to, put them at a really low price, try to blow out some? Do you want to have Amazon ship them back to you? Do you want to have Amazon dispose of them? I mean, long-term storage fees probably for most books is not going to be worth it. There are a few books that it still would be if they're really high-selling books that only sell very few times a year. And Rex, I don't know where you're at. You're probably getting close to your long-term storage fees on some books too. But I feel like most of the time, long-term storage fees on Amazon are going to kill the profit in books, and you're going to make decisions. Which, by the way, is not a bad decision to make as a reseller in general about your inventory. If you're holding on to things for months and months or even years, it's costing you money. Like you've invested that capital and you can't get it back out until you do something with that item. So I don't mind that, dealing with that. And Book Soldier, I think I kind of just answered your question about what happens with books you send in and continue to rack up storage fees. You make a decision. Absolutely, you make a decision. And that's what I like about books too, guys, because in Amazon, you can just tell them to dispose of the books. It's not perfect, but then you've lost your storage fees. You've lost the cost of the book. You've lost that over whatever period of time it was, but you're not going to get hit with a larger long-term storage fee that would cost you even more. And make a decision. You just factor it into your business. It's going to happen. What kind of books are you sourcing? you remind that kind of reminds me of the people who ask me sometimes in a store. They're like, "What are you going to do with all these books?" When I'm purchasing them, and I always want to just say to them like silly answers, but I usually say something kind of like, "I could read them." What do you normally do with books? But what kind of books are you sourcing? Nonfiction tends to do better overall. You tend to find more nonfiction books, it seems like. But within nonfiction, there's a lot of categories that are good and some that are not so great. I have scanned some fiction books as of late that have been great books too. I mean, they're not going to be home runs like some of the nonfiction. Anything that's a technical or sort of one-off. I found a book the other day. I need to post it. I don't think I still have the screenshot. Let me see if I have the screenshot of it. And I'll show it to you guys. This was crazy. Karn and I were at, where the heck were we? I don't know where we were. We were at, I got it right here. So we were at a restore, a Habitat for Humanity, and I found this book about the secrets of shuffleboard. I'm not making that up. The secrets of how to play shuffleboard. This is an older book. It's put out in the 70s, probably not in print anymore, but look at the price. And look at sort of the profit on it. A $45 book. And now that book doesn't have a great score. It only sells about once every once every 180, 60. Yeah, once every couple months or so. So it's going to set a while, but I will eat some fees on that book to sell it and net $45 on it, right? If you'd have looked at that book, you would say that's not worth anything, but something told me to look up the ISBN or to look it up, and because it didn't have a barcode, and sure enough, it has some sales. I mean, anything that's like weird and quirky has potential, strangely enough, because a lot of times those books don't get a lot of copies published. So when people want them, they're willing to pay a premium for them to find them. There's just so many. Some religious books are good, not all. A lot of them, most of them are not. From my experience, textbooks are amazing. We found a Goodwill. We found 3 Goodwills the other day that just had, Rex, you can appreciate this. These 3 Goodwills probably had on average 30 to 40 textbooks each. It was nuts. And I was like, yes. It was like, the heavens opened up. It was great. I mean, textbooks are amazing. They always sell for double digits for the most part and way up in some cases. So let's see. A few more questions here. Christmas is going to be the best ever for me. Thanks, Scott. I appreciate that. What kind of books you source for? Thanks so much, Jen. So going back to Darren's question too here, I would recommend you get a scouting app. And yeah, this is a shameless plug. I mean, I have an affiliate link for ScoutIQ, but that's because I use it. We have scanned already. I've scanned on my phone alone already like 18,000 scans. So it's clear. So think about that. I have touched and picked up 18,000 books over the last couple months. And I think it's a great app. There are other ones out there that are great too. I'm not going to say they're not good as well. But ScoutIQ has these great triggers and this thing called an e-score, which is a proprietary thing where they figure out how often a book is selling. And it's amazing. It will simplify the book sourcing process for you so much. You waste more time picking up a book and looking at it and trying to figure out what's going on with it than you do if you just scan it and listen for the beep. It's really that simple. And that has made all the difference. The triggers come preset. You can tweak them and change them if you want for your own needs, but even starting with the preset triggers would be great. And I just think that's like, if I didn't have a scouting app, like trying to do it with the Amazon seller app, it takes way too long, guys. And you're going to see books and you're not going to know if they're selling. You're going to see books with 20 offers, with 100 offers, with 300 offers, with 10 offers. You're going to see prices all over the place. I mean, using the seller app alone, if you didn't know anything about the seller app, would tell you nothing. It would lead you in the wrong direction so many times. You would pass on books you should pick up, and you would pick up books you should pass on. So I just don't think that's a great way for, I think this is one of these businesses where you have to jump in and get a scouting app right away because someone else has done the work to help figure out if a book is worth it or not. You're not going to know this. Think about books as like brand knowledge in clothing, but instead of having to learn all this brand knowledge in like you do in clothing and having to learn and look up solds and listeds and completeds, someone has done all that work for you and put in an app. How can you say that's not worth 40 bucks a month, 44 bucks a month? It is. It's worth way more than that. Like the amount of time you spend looking things up is just unbelievable when you first get started in the reselling game. So anything that can speed you up and get you on that down that road faster. And a book scouting app is super fast. If you turbocharge it with a Bluetooth scanner, it's even faster. Like that's even way faster than your phone. And you can scan through hundreds of books in an hour. I mean, how could you, like, even in my best day, there is no way, even at the height of my gene buying powers, there's no way I could source 500 genes in an hour. No, or go through them and legitimately find all the winners. Like that's a lot of genes to go through. And I would miss things for sure if I did that. There'd be things I might do 300 maybe, but 500, no way. Let's see. When you're figuring out your net profit, do you consider income taxing your costs monthly? No, Gretchen, because your income tax, if you're not going to know that cost until each quarter or at the end of the year, depending on how you do your taxes. So I don't know, like that would be almost impossible to do. Like you could throw a percentage on it maybe and kind of figure it out, but you're not really going to know that. Like, because when you're running a business, you've got all these costs you're going to be able to deduct. You've got these expenses. You've got the profit coming in from different businesses and different revenue streams. You've got your own personal tax situation, depending on your dependents and exemptions and things like that. I mean, really difficult to figure all that out on the fly. So no, I don't. I mean, I think you have to figure out if something is worth selling in general, if it's worth your time. But I don't think you can figure out the tax info on every book. I mean, that would be too minutia based. Why not list books on eBay? I might. I don't know, just more time. Rex said, I'm looking to decide what to do. I think disposing of the book on most of them is the best option. If it hasn't sold in 6 months, it's not a real eBay seller. Yeah, Rex, that sounds right to me too. That sounds right to me too. I think you're right about that. I think if something hasn't sold in 6 months on Amazon, unless Rex, it's really a long tail book that's one of those, that sells once every 90 days or something, but it sells for a lot. Like I've got a book that I sent in a few weeks ago that's, listed at like $175. I'm going to wait a while on that book. Like that book, I'm going to wait a while. Like I'll wait a year on that book. I will risk it because it's $175, so, but most of them, I think you could just get rid of. And Amazon probably just boxes them up and sells them to a reseller, honestly, which is kind of funny to think about. They might end up back in your stores where you source. And maybe you'll buy them again. Who knows? Scott says some Bibles can sell for good profit. That's a great point, Scott. I have not looked into Bibles, but I think Bibles are amazing from some of the things I have seen. I haven't really looked too much into them, but I just don't know much about them yet. But Bibles, there are people who pay a lot of money for older, especially the more ornate Bibles. And arguably the most expensive book in the world is a Bible, but you'll never find it. I don't think one exists in complete form. The Gutenberg Bible is. I saw an estimate that said if that usually you only find it in pages. They're called leaves, like one page, and one page of that Bible can go for as much as $70,000. So an entire Gutenberg put together, if you could find one, and I don't think it exists in the world anywhere, but it would fetch over $100 million. It was some crazy amount. But yeah, that's interesting and there are other Bibles I know that sell in the hundreds of dollars, like from even in the 1800s, maybe even the 1900s as well. Yeah, most Bibles do not have barcodes. That's true. Yeah, you're gonna have to look those up, and you might have to look those up on a site like Abe's Books or something like that, because they may not even be a listing for them on Amazon. Let's see. You will not find the first ever printed book at a thrift store. Yeah, no, definitely not. You're not going to find one of those at Goodwill. And I don't think a Gutenberg full exists. I mean, there are leaves of them in museums, and people own them, and they're very ornate, and they were done all by hand. A lot of them, and or I think they were done by hand. I can't remember, but there's a fascinating story behind that Bible and how it was written. I'm probably forgetting some of the details, but it's super expensive. You can find them. Amazon sells books 100 to 1 versus eBay. Yeah, I agree. Like the sell through on Amazon versus eBay is just a crazy amount. So I think that there's not really a contest there. Now that you're doing books on Amazon, are you still doing eBay? Or are you planning to go away from that model business? We're still going to use it, at least for consignment for the short term. We're still going to be selling jeans on there. And I don't know beyond that, Gretchen, honestly. I'm not sure. It doesn't fit in with some of the things we're doing right now, which is, I mean, that's the natural evolution of business, I think. But for what we're doing, Amazon is just a better fit right now. That doesn't mean eBay won't have a place, but as of right now, there's no plans to expand it. That's for sure. Howie says the Gutenberg was the first book printed using the movable type. Yeah. It's let's see if you know what this. I think it was also the first book printed on the printing press. But what was the printing press, right? That's what you're talking about. But what was the second book to be printed? What was the topic? Let's see who knows that. What was the topic of the second book to be printed on the printing press? Let's see if you guys know that. A little trivia question for you. Something that I used to be actually into quite a long time ago, but not so much these days. But let's see. There are way more books listed on Amazon for eBay, so that 100 to 1 ratio isn't accurate. Yeah, I hear you, Darren, but the reality is that sales velocity on Amazon is greater than on eBay. In virtually any category you want to look at, with maybe a couple exceptions about certain antiques and vintage things. Obviously, there's no pre-owned clothing on Amazon, so there's no way to compare that. But sell-through on Amazon is faster, it's easier, it's probably less profitable, but there's a trade-off there. Like if you can make $10 on one item and you can sell two $5 items on Amazon at the same time for less time than the $10 item, then you're still better selling on Amazon. Like there's a trade-off there, right? Because of sell-through and so on. But I don't think there's any question that Amazon is the largest bookseller in the world. I don't think that's any, like by any measure you want to look at. Number of books listed, sell-through, volume. I mean, it's just a huge seller. Maybe some of the retail stores are close, somewhere like the Barnes & Noble is not that big anymore, but like some of the other booksellers, maybe like a Costco or Sam's or Walmart. I mean, they sell a lot of books too, a lot of the low end mass market books, but it's just crazy. Somebody says I was going to guess this on the second book to be printed was a book about how to print books to be printed. Let me make sure I'm correct on this before I tell you guys. I'll be right. Oh, what that was the movable type one. Oh, you know what? I might be wrong. Oh wait, let me see. The mains Salter. Yeah, never mind. That was on the movable type one. Yeah, I'm thinking about a different book. Wow, when was that printed? The second major book in the West. Oh, printing press. Let's see if I can figure this out. I thought it was actually supposed to be a book on chess, which is one of the most chess is one of the most printed about subjects in the world in terms of books. There are a lot of books printed about chess. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see, the first printing press. That obviously totally changed the way books were printed, distributed, because now you could print a lot of them all, very, very quickly. Let's see if I can find this. Oh, see, now we're getting a disagreement on the internet. I don't even know that I can follow this story anymore now. Now it's saying the printing press was even way before Gutenberg. Well, who knows? There's some dispute here. I thought it was William Caxton, not Gutenberg. He's thought to be the first one to introduce it into England in 1476. Okay. Yes. That's who I was thinking about. But anyway, all right. I'm going to have to get off here in a second. Any last questions? Let's see. Do you put the books in plastic bags? Nope. No, I don't. I think plastic bags on most books are really unnecessary. I mean, there could be some exceptions to that. But I mean, you can go ahead and put them in. I mean, you can put them in bags, but I just think it's a waste of time and money. Let's see.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, I see Gretchen says they were printing in Korea and China. There's some dispute about what exactly a printing press is, So yeah, there's some dispute about it. All right, so bad trivia question. Was Gutenberg that guy in Police Academy? That was Steve Gutenberg. Different Gutenberg. Not the same. All right, guys. All right, so I'm going to get off here. Check out my description down below for all kinds of helpful links. Instagram, I'm going to try to go on later today and talk about some other inventory, not books, some other stuff. And you can find a link to my Instagram down in the description of this video, and that'll be cool. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Get out there and get those books and keep sending them in. That's the only way you're going to sell them. So until next time, this is Prof Sales saying good sales to you.